Okay, I hope that you enjoyed today's video. Okay, here's the watch we're going to be looking at, and it's unique in that for just a very brief period of time, Timex was making watches out of aluminum, and this would have been late 1950s, early 1960s. The exact year is something we're going to find out here in just a few minutes. What makes a Timex Marlin different than a Timex Mercury? They both look identical except for what? The word waterproof right there above the 6 is what makes a watch a Timex Marlin. If you have a watch that looks just like this and doesn't have that word waterproof on it, that just means it's a Timex Mercury. And those are also very beautiful watches. These cases, watch cases, are very interesting to me. Normally, when we look at the back of a Timex watch, you pop off the back. But with these watches, you don't do that. So, what we're going to do is we're going to take off the crystal, and we're going to kind of go from there. I have my watch crystal remover. Yours may look a lot different. This is one that I think is from the 60s, and you can see how it's real heavy duty and kind of big, and that's easier to get a grip on. These are available on eBay. Occasionally they show up for like 50 bucks, and it'll last a lifetime. Just kind of, let's see how this works. Hopefully I got that right. It's kind of hard to see, and I have to make sure those little prongs on it are on the right part of the crystal. And I think I got it. I think we got it. Let's see what we got here. Just bear with me, please. Okay, we removed the crystal. Now, let's take a look at the dial. Okay, I'm looking all the way around the dial right now. And normally with these watches, the code is right here below the 6, and on rare occasions you'll find them next to the 9, and I've seen them above the 12 in some women's watches. On this watch, where's the code? Well, it's still below the 6, but it's hidden by this aluminum case bezel. 9 times out of 10, or 99 times out of 100, when you don't even have to remove the crystal, you'll be able to see it just with your magnifying glass, but here it's covered. Okay, what we have here is right around that dial on the very edge is either aluminum or possibly stainless steel. I'm not 100% sure. A ring. And I believe these are called beauty rings. I've also heard referred to them as being called bezel rings. What I'm here is I'm using this razor. When you're using this, a person needs to be real careful. My hand is right in the way. All I'm trying to do is I'm trying to remove that. There it goes. Hope that did that. Okay, the orientation of that's important, isn't it? Now let's take another look at this dial. Let's see if anything got revealed to us. Okay, what we have here is something that's really interesting. Now, try to follow me with this. I'm doing the best I can. Almost always when we're looking at a Timex watch before 1981, there will be a code, as I've already mentioned here, and it's almost always below the 6. And as I've already mentioned, sometimes on the far side of the 3 or above the 12. And yes, I have seen them in those places before. usually on women's watches. That's very rare. In this particular case, even after we have removed this bezel ring, this beauty ring, which you will find on very few watches that are Timex, except for this particular model and very few others, even then we don't see any codes there at all. So what do we do? How do we know what year this watch is? Well, that's when you need to contact somebody like myself, or now you'll be able to do it. I got a little piece of fuzz there, don't I? And we can figure out exactly when this watch was made, but not the traditional way. Okay, what I have here is a binder that I've made up over the years, and just incidentally a good place to buy the literal binder themselves. At places like Goodwill where you just pay $1 or $2 for them. If you go to a place like Office Depot or Staples, they cost a fortune. Okay, that's not important what we're talking about here. Let me just show you several things. Notice here we have the Darwin model of Timexes, and I'm just doing this just for fun, which was just a really, I don't care for the word Darwin, the name Darwin, but these watches are kind of rare, and they're just beautiful watches. If you ever see those on eBay for less than $50 and they're in working condition, I think it's a really good price. Okay, then we have men's electric watches, men's calendar electric watches. Bear with me for just a second. That's what we have here is almost a new old stock men's electric watch. Comes in a box like this. And this one I put a new battery in. I put a new battery in, and it works on and off, so unless I get it to work steadily, then we're not going to put it on eBay. But anyway, I think it's that one. Anyway, it's kind of fun. I think that's kind of a fun hobby. Then we have the fun timers with Mickey Mouse and so forth. This one's kind of rare, that one. Then we come to Marlin. Okay, now here we have a little bit of research. Okay, which does that look like? Well, at first glance they look like quite a few of them. Let's see here. Well, we know it's not that one. And we know it's not one of these two here. Let's see here. I'm doing this as you're watching it. I didn't do this beforehand, so I'm kind of refreshing my memory. Let me see something here. That really scared me because I saw those hands overlapped and I thought I had lost my hour hand, or a hand. I was confused there for just a minute. Well, let's look at some of the differences between these watches. We're doing a little bit of detective work. Well, what are some of the differences between these two models? One is, notice the shape of the crown. There's a difference there. It's subtle, but that's a clue, isn't it? We also notice that although these numbers are all very similar design and font style, the ones on this watch are much larger than on this model here. Okay, and then upon closer examination, we notice that the numbers here, the style of the numbers, match up with that watch. In addition, the case itself has subtle differences. The way these lugs are right here are slightly different, and so forth. So when we're doing research on this watch, we have nothing else to go on. It doesn't tell us what year it is. There's no codes on it. There's a catalog codes, model numbers, so that back in the day the customer wanted this particular model, and then he would look it up and he would say, okay, give me $12 and here's your watch, and so forth. So here it is. This is it right here. You know, it was made in 1960, so now we know the year. And then we notice all these different codes, 2010 down to and so forth. My mind just went blank on some of that. These will deal with different colors, if I'm not mistaken, as far as the color of the case as well as the band. This band, now notice here also, this watch doesn't have a band obviously, but notice this one has a plain leather band. This one has kind of an alligator print. This one here kind of has a lizard print to it, as does this one, or rubber. I think lizard on these. This one has a plain black leather band on it. So if we were to try to bring this watch back to as much original as possible, this would be the type of band that I would be looking for. Okay. Oh, and by the way, this is the movement number. The 22 is as a very good movement that Timex used for many, many years. And later on it was replaced by the movement 24. But common movement, and it works just fine. Used for years and millions of watches. Let me share with you something else that I think you might find interesting. Occasionally I receive questions in which they'll ask me, do you have a movement for my watch, a movement 22 or 24? And I probably do for my own use. But what you can do is, let's say you have this watch. You say, oh no, my movement is not working. To switch out the movements here is very simple. I've talked about that in previous videos. But sometimes the easiest thing to do is to find one that looks just like that on eBay and buy it for maybe $10, and then just use the movement that is out of it, assuming that's a working movement. It's like going down to the car salvage yard and finding a really good functioning piece for your car. A lot of times that's a lot easier than trying to hunt down one of these movements. Thank you for watching this video. I do hope that you found it to be a fun video to watch. There's tons of videos out there on Seikos and Citizens and Bulivas, but there's not a whole lot of them about these old Timex watches, and that's one of the reasons why I do them. I don't want to do a video on a watch that's been done to death 200 times. My wife and I are Christians, and all of our videos are family friendly. There's no liberal content in any of our videos. Well, thank you for watching, and I hope that you'd have a really good day.